Hey, it is 2 hours UTC, and it's time for Astronomy Daily Live. And look at that. I'm not even straight here. There we go. There we go. So hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. You can call me Cosmic, and we're here again every single day, 2 hours UTC, the gathering of the circle of friends in order to talk about a passion that we all have for the science of astronomy. So I'm going to get myself going here. I'm going to pop up my chat over here. Let's see. Where am I? Where where are we? I don't know. If anybody knows where exactly we are, leave a comment down in the description because I'm trying to figure that kind of stuff out. Come on, cat, you got to move out of the way. Come on, you got to move. You got to move. I cannot see my screen if you are standing right in front of it. It's impossible. We are baryonic matter. Okay, we cannot we cannot see through things. At least not yet. So hope everybody's doing well. I just popped my chat out. I'm also running my live stream over on my smartphone just to monitor it, that kind of thing. I added a little background art here. You can see behind me this, and you can't really see it extremely well, but that piece of art um, was created by myself uh, using um, the orbital data of the four Galilean moons of Jupiter. And I just, sort of arranged them in a particular way, added some color, uh, you know, did a little bit of rendering and all that, and made kind of a neat pattern or so. This and three other pieces of art I put into the here. Let me grab the flyer here. Hold on. This art show, uh, the art of planetary science, that took place the first few days of February of this year. I I sent in a couple of pieces, and there there were two categories. One category was for fine art, the other was for data art, and there was a first, second, and a third place, and an honorable mention. So there were sort of four awards um, done, and for the data art category, I got one of the honorable mentions. So there were something like 200 and some pieces submitted, and they were for the most part, they were pretty awesome. They were pretty cool stuff, um, and I was lucky enough to get one of the um, um, honorable mentions in the data art category. So that's very cool. Uh, these and other prints are available for purchase. This size is 2 foot square, and uh, looking to get about like 65 for those. I can also make some smaller ones. I guess I can make larger ones too. But 2 foot by 2 foot is, pretty good size. That's probably, sort of the largest that I want to do. But yeah, they're pretty cool, pretty fun, and lets me be creative without having to be able to draw, because I cannot draw for shit. I cannot draw at all, but I can program a computer, and I can tell a computer to draw lines and dots and um, squiggles and all that. So uh, as long as I can, tell a computer to do it, um, then I'm good to go. If you put a pen or some kind of a paintbrush in my hand, I'm not gonna know what to do with it at all. But doing this kind of stuff uh, is is uh, is fun, and it um, it can be very I can dive really, really deep and spend hours and hours and hours and days and days and days, messing around with things. Um, and yeah, so, this and other prints are available. Drop me a line, cosmiclettuce@gmail.com, and I will hook you up. And yeah, I've got a shop on Etsy and Redbubble and Society 6 and all that, but I haven't been too active there, and I think I want to do something else um, in those shops. So not quite sure yet. So I'm not going to um, give you the URL of those sites yet. But if you're interested in seeing, sort of a portfolio, what's available, um, throw me an email, and I will send you some samples, and then you can choose on your own. All right, enough of that. So tonight I do have the coffee with the very, very thick mug, nice and dirty inside too. I Tonight I've sort of decided that it's going to be story time night. So sit back and enjoy um, some stories uh, that you know some adventures that I've had in terms of astronomical stuff. And I might as well start. This really isn't a story. It's just a um, 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 anecdote, uh, because my wife is always after me about cleaning the inside of the mug, and you can sort of see there that it's pretty coffee stained, right? Pretty coffee stained. Cheers. And pretty much pretty much whenever I see a coffee stained mug like that, I think of the time that I spent with one of the research professors at Stewart Observatory. His name is John Cock. It's Cocke. John Cock. You may recognize that name. And there are lots of things that I actually remember about Dr. Cock. But one of the things, I mean, absolutely brilliant, funny guy. Um, uh, uh, yeah, kind of um, tough to approach, sort of standoffish of sorts, but brilliant, absolutely brilliant, as is, or as at least was most of the people. Um, uh, at that time at Stewart Observatory. Uh, but his coffee mug, his his coffee mug, the inside of his coffee mug, I swear, had like this thick black coating all the way inside. I mean, it had not been cleaned out in probably decades, just decades, and it was just this thick black muck, right? And he didn't he either didn't notice, didn't mind, or didn't care. It was probably the same kind of a situation where it's like, if he would have ever brought that, and um, uh, uh, I have no idea, but probably, if he would have ever brought that mug home, it would have been washed. It would have been cleaned out. But because it was at his office, you know, at Stewart, uh, you know, his wife did not have access to it, and so he could sort of do whatever he wanted, and that's sort of the situation I've got here. This room is sort of my area where it's just a constant disaster, right? I mean, it's you know I clean it up maybe once a month or so, meaning that I pick everything up off the floor and I vacuum, get all the dust, all the cat hair, uh, all of that um, off of off of most things. But yeah, in terms of coffee mugs, this is pristine and clean compared to John Cox's mug. So cheers. And speaking of dirty offices, okay, I have seen, I have seen the Mount Everest of dirty, messy um, um, offices of scientists. Most scientists, at least the ones that I've encountered, have messy, chaotic offices. um, the Mount Everest of them all uh, was and or is Nick Wolf's office, which was right next to mine, and his office was just absolutely unbelievably cluttered, just beyond beyond anything that I can even try to describe. There's no way. It really seems as though uh, when I went into Nick Wolf's office, um, it was like climbing Mount Everest. It was such a monumental task just to get in, and then once you're in, there's just I mean there's no way to even describe it. Okay, but just piles of papers, piles of books, um, a little computer screen, um, and just stuff everywhere, just stuff everywhere, just absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. Again, brilliant, absolutely brilliant person. Um, just yeah, incredible. But yeah, I wanted to do maybe a story time here, a couple of stories from my past that just thinking about them today. What sort of prompted me to um, to come up with this was that somebody over on the Cloudy Nights website cloudynights.com, which I joined about a month ago, and I forgot about until yesterday. And it's a very, very, very active community where they talk about all kinds of things astronomy, everything that you can possibly imagine. So it's rich for topics too, and I think I'm going to be able to get a lot of ideas in terms of things to talk about because you know um, I don't want this live stream to necessarily be like a classroom or sort of a place where I just sort of teach you things um, um, about astronomy. I think live streams should be a little bit more personal than that, at least sometimes. And so instead of going through papers or talking about some kind of an astronomical topic and sort of going through all the information and all that, I thought, yeah, let's do some story time. I I don't really consider myself a very good storyteller, but maybe if I practice a little bit, um, and sorry, but you're going to have to be the guinea pigs. Um, I can get better, and you know I mean what I consider sort of just things that happened. Maybe they were a little bit interesting. I don't know. Um, so uh, so growing up, I cheers. I had absolutely no exposure to professional astronomers at all. Um, as a young kid, preteen, no exposure, to anybody who had um, um, any kind of interest um, at all. But I wasn't, discouraged at all. I wasn't necessarily encouraged. I was just, um, if I wanted to read um, all the astronomy books um, that were at the library, it's like, well, cool, go for it, kiddo. And then as a teenager, joined the local club, um, and at least got exposure to astronomy at that level, and that was really really fun. And I do have some stories there too, which I'm going to have to dig up out of my head and remember a few of them. Take some notes and see if I can come up with some interesting stories there. But so yeah, growing up, I had never uh, met like a professional astronomer of any kind. Oh, it's definitely hydrogen hydroxide tonight, HOH. So cheers. Oh, sorry. Before I start, what prompted this was there was a post on cloudynights.com where um, um, this person had seen Saturn for the first time, and that um, description um, of waiting for it to come out, and it was cloudy and cold, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna go back into my tent and just you know forget about it. And um, after a little while, he popped his head out, and it had cleared up. And so, he got back out and he looked at Saturn for the first time, and um, the title of his post is Saturn Does Have Rings. So, and I know exactly what um, um, he's talking about there. It's like, yeah, you know, you hear about all this stuff, and you hear about it, and you hear about it, and um, uh, uh, and to finally see it with your own eyes, it's like, you make a connection there. You sort of, I mean, seeing is a form of touching, and we are touching the objects that we see, and that's an awesome and unique experience, and it does only happen once. Although, seeing Saturn over and over and over again, never get tired of it, ever, ever, ever. But the first time is always the best, and that can be said for lots of things. Um, anyway, so that prompted me to be like, oh, okay, I should tell some stories. So, growing up, never met um, any kind of a professional astronomer at all, um, and so prior, yeah, this was actually prior to even being accepted at the University of Arizona as a student. uh, I somehow I don't exactly know how, but I I wrote a letter to um, the National um, Optical Astronomy Observatories (NOAO), which have their offices also on the campus of the University of Arizona. Um, they operate Kitt Peak. Um, they've got a couple of telescopes down in Chile, um, maybe scopes elsewhere too. Don't remember exactly, but the big one is Kitt Peak, and so it's like, okay, you know I basically wrote them a letter saying, hey, I'm gonna be a student doing astronomy there, and I am coming down for Christmas break. This was Christmas 1986. 1986. I'm coming down. I'm gonna pay um, Tucson a visit, and I want to meet a professional. I want to meet a pro, because I've never met a pro. Don't even know what one looks like, right? I want to be in the presence of a professional. And they wrote back and said, come on down. We're going to have you meet up with Richard Green. Richard Green. And um, didn't know um, who this guy was, didn't care, because he was a professional astronomer that worked at um, Kitt Peak, right? And at that time, I thought, it's like, that is the coolest. That's the coolest thing in the world. So, had never flown in a big plane before. My only other experience flying in a plane was once in a little single engine, probably some kind of Cessna or something, at like an air show, and I still remember that because it was uh, uh, very, very intensely sickening. um, yeah, I mean, the view was really, really great. It was you know uh, very, very new, to see things from above, but combination of vertigo and, you know, just sort of the regular emotions of the plane. I was, I turned several colors. I know that. Turned several colors, had to, land early. Don't remember much at all. So, getting onto a big plane, had didn't even think really about, it's like, okay, am I, going to be able to endure this? Because see, you have to remember, I was riding a rocket at that point. The rocket was pointed right towards astronomy, and I was riding that rocket. So things like, you know flying in an airplane, didn't even think that there was going to be any kind of problem at all. So the path I took, was basically down the west coast. I was in Washington State, and so flew flew to San Francisco, then from San Francisco to LA, and then Los Angeles to Tucson. And uh, from home to San Francisco, um, I remember it being a little kind of like, what have I gotten myself into? Um, the flight from San Francisco to LA was uh, pretty pretty intense. I don't think. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did throw up. I did. I did. That's when I was introduced to, the bag, and everybody, was extremely understanding. I was how old was I? Uh, 86. I would have been 18. So I um, um, just turned 18. Um, so, youngish kid thrown up in the plane between San Francisco and LA, and so, landed in Los Angeles, and it's like, oh man, I've got to fly one more time. So, somehow I made it to Tucson, and I think I was supposed to meet Richard Green the next day, and so I did. I went to the offices of NOAO, and the there's a secretary in front, and this is still the case now. It's like a guard dog, right? It's like this. Who are you? What are you doing here? What do you want? Really, really um, harsh, and not incredibly nice and welcoming. See, this young kid walking in. It's like, what the hell is this kid doing in here? So I'm on a rocket though, so it's like nothing is stopping me at all. Um, uh, and so I'm like, okay, I'm looking for Richard Green. He's supposed to meet me, and he's going to give me a tour of some sort. And so I asked for his name, and then I wait. And NOAO is this like seamed, and it basically is like two long hallways, and way down at the end of one hallway, I started seeing this guy walking down the hallway like this, you know, ding 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 ding, just bouncing along, bouncing, and you know, my thought was, it's like, is that is is that a professional astronomer? Is that what they look like? I mean, this kind of looks like just an ordinary guy, you know, kind of funny looking, uh, you know, walks a little weird. Um, is is this is this him? And he walks up to me. Um, he introduces himself and grabs me by the arm, and it's like, let's go walk around a little bit. So I don't remember much of the tour that he gave, but I do remember two things specifically. One was the library, and this you know this was before I had discovered the science and engineering library at um, the university. So I but this was a whole library just dedicated to all things astronomical, and I was like, it was an absolute heaven. You know, it's like everywhere you look was just astronomy books, astronomy journals, astronomy everywhere, right? And so that was very, very awesome. But then he took me downstairs into the basement. And in the basement, I don't know if it's still there. I assume that it is a room that they call, I don't know. I don't know if it was actually called this, or if this was just one part of the room, but it was called the grant machine room. And the grant machine room had basically sort of three sections. One section was the grant machine itself. And the grant machine was this machine that um, and later on I was there so much I can't believe that I don't really remember it very, very well. But it's this big machine with all, all these dials, um, you know, worm gear things, and all that. It was basically just a very, very large XYZ stage. And what you did is you went into another room that had copies on glass of the Palomar Sky Survey. So this was essentially, you know, the Palomar Sky Survey charts. And I, of course, I knew about the POS, um, but I never, ever dreamed that I would actually see them, and not only see them, but hold them. Okay, so he grabbed a plate, you know, and they were pretty big. They were probably maybe something like 21 inches on a side or so. They were pretty big glass plates, and of course they were negatives, right? So all the stars on there, or the galaxies, or anything else, were black, and you could hold it up and look through it, right? Because it was a photographic plate, and it was just this big room of them. The glass plates were in these um, paper sleeves, like record albums, right? LPs, that kind of thing. And they were all numbered, organized by, right ascension, declination, that kind of thing. And so spent a lot of time in there because it's like, man, of course, at that time, I knew most of the Messier objects, a lot of the NGC objects. And so it's like, hey, you know, can we look at M81, M82, M65, M66, M97, just on and on and on. Spent quite a bit of time just in that room, just pulling out these glass plates. I'm pretty sure that he was the one that was sort of pulling them off the shelf, but I could hold them and look at them, and we could put them on a table and look at them that way. They had light tables, uh, back illuminated light tables, and so spent probably a good half an hour uh, or longer, just looking at those, and it was just awesome, awesome, awesome. The grant machine itself was, and probably maybe still is. I mean, it's uh, um, um, very much an antique now, but back in the day, it it was used to measure positions of stars very, very accurately. It's I'm trying to remember if it was attached to some kind of a computer, some kind of a digital readout, some kind of thing, where you could make measurements. I don't remember now exactly. Um, in the other um, part of the room, they also had prints of the glass plates. So, paper prints. And I think those could be also used on the grant machine as well. So, got onto the grant and put one of the glass plates down and, scanned around a little bit. Um, Spent a lot of time, doing that too, because it's like, this is the Palomar Sky Survey, right? And this is 1986 when there were no other surveys. We didn't have what we've got now. We had POS, and that's it, right? So, you know, this was like the one of the holy grails, and there's like, it's unbelievable. It still gives me chills thinking about it, and so yeah, spent a lot of time in that room with a professional astronomer looking at the Palomar Sky Survey. It's just it was blowing my mind, right? Just completely boom. Um, so by that time it was lunchtime. So he's like, "Let's go have lunch and we'll talk astronomy." And I'm like, I mean, I don't remember exactly now, but it's like, oh yeah. So we went to a sort of a local dive where many of the astronomers went and ate lunch, called the Big A restaurant. And of course, I thought that A stood for astronomy, right? Well, it turns out that the University of Arizona, their logo is a big A, right? It's a capital A. So probably the big A was named after the university. But at the time, my um, ignorant thinking about things was that this is where the astronomers hang out. Now, yes, um, because it was close to the offices of NOAO, of course, a lot of the astronomers went there to eat lunch, dinner, you know, that kind of thing. Good good food too. Really, really uh, good food. Um, when I moved to Tucson, ate there quite a bit. So yeah, very very awesome. So we spent, and here's this guy, right, who is probably really busy, really sort of an important guy. Um, Turns out he was much more important, than what I thought, or realized. Right? He was part of the administration. He had his hands in lots and lots of things, but he took time out for me. Um, at least I think we were together probably at least a good 4 or 5 hours or so. So lunch was a long lunch, probably a good hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and he just let me ask whatever I wanted, talk about whatever I wanted, and yeah, we just sat, um, talked astronomy for a good hour and a half, 2 hours or so, and you know I uh, I was definitely getting everything I wanted. I wanted to meet and talk to a real astronomer, right? A real astronomer. Prior to becoming an astronomer myself, um, just to I mean, as I said, I was on that rocket, so I was going to be an astronomer whether I met one or not, right? But this was huge, huge fuel, big, big load up of very volatile propellant, and so yeah, ate lunch, uh, good conversation. Have absolutely no idea what we talked about at all, but whatever it was he was engaged. He you know, he was basically there for as long as I wanted to be there until I sort of ran out of stuff. And so, yeah, I probably just, talked his ear off and just did this huge download, just, yeah, just all of that. And uh, awesome, awesome guy for sure. He, um, uh, yeah, uh, and as I said, he was definitely in sort of the um, um, upper management. He had a lot of research behind him, that he had done um, previously. Um, in fact, there's a catalog of stars, the PG catalog of stars. Who I think the PG catalog of stars. Let's look this up really really quick. I'm gonna do my screen share here, and because I want to get this right in terms of. By the way, archive.org is giving me some fits tonight. The star catalog. Don't want to give away what PG stands for yet, but probably Probably will here pretty soon. Let's see. List of astronomical catalogs. Let's see if it's in here. I'm sure it is. PG. PG. Oh, I don't see a PG. I do not see a PG catalog. PG star catalog. A lot of white dwarfs, but it's more than just white dwarfs. Scion catalog. You know, I'm probably not gonna find it now. Anyway, PG, they they were like excessively blue stars, and PG stands for Palomar Green, as in the Palomar Sky Survey and Richard Green, the guy who I met, and so yeah, the PG catalog. Stop sharing. Uh, the G in that was Richard Green, the person that I met with there. So yeah, and turns out that what from 1990 to 1992, I looked at quite a few PG objects when I was doing photometry of white dwarf stars up at the 61-inch up on Mount Bigelow, and there um, quite a few white dwarf stars are listed in the PG catalog. So I think after lunch, I'm pretty sure after lunch, he was pretty much spent. Um, I think I was pretty wiped out as well, and yeah, that was pretty much the end of that. I don't remember any souvenirs. I don't remember any artifacts from that um, meeting, except, as I said, it was serious fuel and propellant that just nailed down the whole idea of becoming an astronomer. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, for sure, this is it, done deal. Um, got accepted in April, and that's when the rocket ride really started. So yeah, so there's at least one of the stories that I've got in terms of becoming an astronomer, and yeah, very fun, very awesome. Cheers. One of the cleanest faculty offices I've ever seen. Yeah, that's um, I, uh, I don't know what motivates people to have clean offices. I can't relate to that very well. I just can't. I mean, you're not even seeing, a small portion of this office, and hopefully you never will, because yeah, I mean, it's not exactly a disaster area, but it's a mess. It's a mess, and oh well, what can I say? That's how it is. Too bad. All right, let's do an object of the day, and then get ourselves out of here. As I said, archive.org is having some problems. Archive.org. Let's just take a quick look again. It's it threw me over to Lawrence Livermore. Okay, see, it came up now, so that's fine. That's fine. Do we have today's thing. No, it still says Monday. Let's reload. Or is it Monday? Well, yeah, technically speaking, it isn't Monday anymore. But yeah, it sort of looks like it's still Monday. So I'm thinking maybe they're having some troubles over there at the regular archive.org. But no matter. Let's do a let's do an NGC object tonight. This is the set. There are 7,840 new general catalog objects. And these are all um, uh, non-stellar objects. So they can be galaxies, they can be um, open clusters, they can be globular clusters, they can be um, planetary nebulae, or they can be diffuse nebulae. Anything that isn't what random.org random dot is it random.com, isn't it? Sorry about that. Uh-oh. What is going on? I don't know. Random.com is not responding. This is kind of weird. Whoa, that's a little weird. Server IP address cannot be found. Let me try it over here. It might be my ISP too. Random.com. That's connecting okay. Oh no, no, it is random.org, isn't it? Random.org. Okay, that's connecting. My Linux machine is connecting okay. Oh, let's see, org. I thought it was random.org. Site cannot be reached. Huh. I'm not sure what's going on there. All right, well, maybe I'm gonna have to do this a different way. Let's see. Are there other random number generators on the web? Probably. Does Google work? Does anything work? Ah, now it must be me. It must be me. Dare I mean, I've got Google Hangouts running on a different window. So dare I stop Chrome, exit Chrome, and restart Chrome? Should I try that? Okay, all right. Well, but random.org is not responding either. And so that's a little weird. That's a little weird. I'm going to try exiting Chrome and seeing. Okay, here we go. Exited Chrome, and now I'm going to try to restart Chrome. I'm going to have to do it this way. Bear with me here, folks. Where's Chrome? Come on. Where's Chrome? No, is it part of Microsoft? I don't remember where Chrome is. Google Chrome. Let's see if that does it. So random. .org. Huh, weird. All right, well, let's see if we can go to Simbad. Oh man. All right, yeah, something is really, really weird. We're pretty much at the end anyway. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on with this thing. Maybe I'm just gonna have to reboot the machine, but of course that means that I would definitely be ending ending this uh, without saying a proper goodbye. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it for today, and we will pick up again tomorrow in in about in about 23 hours from now. So if if you're new, um, just watching this for the first time, make sure to subscribe. Um, you can set your notifications. I've changed my YouTube homepage a little bit with some advice from Space TV, Space TV dot. I want to say spacetv.net, Space TV, spacetv.net. Um, they've been um, very encouraging, supportive, and uh, and so yeah, they made some recommendations that I took, and so I've changed my YouTube homepage a little bit, um, just to show the live streams, something that I wanted to do um, when I um, started this and couldn't because I didn't have any content. But I'm going to start creating some playlists uh, with different topics. So I'll have, sort of a main playlist that has uh, all the live streams. And then I'm going to have playlists with categories of some sort. Don't know exactly how that's going to look quite yet, but yeah, I'm trying to make small improvements to the the channel, to make the viewing maybe a little bit easier, maybe a little bit more enjoyable. Um, Now that I do have, a modest amount of content, um, being able to categorize that just a little bit, maybe make navigating around, for new folks a little bit easier. So yeah, and I think I definitely want to do more of this kind of story time, and definitely want um, to invite you folks in to do story time as well. But yeah, you're probably going to have to be a panelist in order to do that because I cannot, I don't, I haven't probably tried hard enough yet, but I haven't figured out how to pipe um, um, like the audio from my Discord channel into Google Hangouts. Haven't figured out how to do that quite yet. Um, I do have, a mail to mail um, 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 eighth inch um, um, audio adapter that I could definitely go from the mic or um, the headphones in to the mic here. So physically I could probably do it, but then I don't. Yeah, I don't know how I would. Yeah, it's complicated. So probably have to work on that a little bit. But Yeah, yeah. It's late, and let's see. Do I have Python? Yeah. Uh, it's definitely easy enough, to run my own thing here, but I sort of, like the internet one because it's doesn't show any kind of bias. It's not my code. I'm not, and I understand it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, but you know, um, to use a website that is complete that just doesn't care, you know, at all. Um, yeah, it just um, removes all biases at all. So yeah, I could definitely run my own code, to generate random numbers and all that. But yeah, I suppose in a pinch we could do that. But this is too fun and casual to be in any kind of a pinch. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get out of here for now. Hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs down. I just want a reaction. Spread the word about this if you know folks, who are um, um, passionate about astronomy. Um, Share this around. I'm definitely getting into cloudynights.com and definitely going to be making contributions there. Hopefully, be able to pull over some people there as well. Space TV is doing all they can over in Europe. I'm thinking about um, going to a 2 live stream day, maybe having one at 2 hours UTC and then another one at 14 hours UTC. Maybe not an hour long show, maybe like a half hour ish show twice a day. We'll see. I'm going to think about that a little bit, probably try it here maybe in a few days. I don't know. I'll think about it a little bit more. Um, but yeah, I'm just uh, yeah. So we'll see how all that goes. But for now, I'm gonna get out of here. So peace, cheers, and I will see you again in now it is less than 23 hours. So I'll see you on the spin. Take care. Have a good evening, a good day, and yeah, I will see you tomorrow. All right. Cheers. Bye.